Hey everyone, it's Mike with It's Pittsfield Tonight. I am here with Nick Russo. Nick is candidate for Pittsfield City Council Ward 2. Nick, for those that don't know you, if you could, why don't you just go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, thanks, Mike. I'm super excited to be here. My name is Nick. I'm living in Ward 2 right now, a lifelong Pittsfield resident, PHS class of 2011 graduate. Right now I'm living downtown on North Street. Before that, in high school, I lived on the southeast side, right near Egremont School. So that's kind of my stomping grounds in my time here in Pittsfield. So yeah, right now I'm a board member of Downtown Pittsfield Inc. I'm a volunteer with an organization called Western Mass Labor Action, benefits coordinator there. And I'm also working with the Greening the Gateway Cities project this year as a tree steward coordinator. So that's kind of where I have my my involvement here in the city right now, and hoping to extend that as a counselor in Ward 2 this fall.
Okay. And I'm going to ask you the same thing I ask everyone. Was there any particular issue or something that made you say, that's it, I'm gonna run for city council. I need to become a city councilor?
I wouldn't say there was one switch that flipped, but honestly, just having been, I didn't live in Pittsfield for my time in college. I was in New York State, and I came back 5 years ago. So now living as a full-fledged adult, post-college in Pittsfield, managing all my own affairs, it's just gotten more and more interesting to me how the city affairs work. And then especially in Ward 2, where I've lived this whole time since I moved back, there's been a lot going on in this ward in particular. The common was fully renovated and finished just as I was getting back, with the farmers market kicking off there. There's been a lot of progress compared to where it's been in the past decade with the old GE campus. We've gotten the Berkshire Innovation Center finished. We've got a couple more prospective tenants there.
Are there any particular issues, or what are you hearing most from people in your ward you're speaking to that are the big issues on their minds that they want to see addressed?
Sure. Yeah, I think housing is a really big one. Just keeping Pittsfield welcoming and affordable to any type of family or any type of income who wants to live here. There's been a lot of work going on in the Tyler Street corridor, which falls within Ward 2. So as a counselor, I'd really be interested in keeping people informed on what's happening there, being a liaison between residents and the city and developers who'd be interested in doing more work there. And yeah, keeping it affordable and keeping it a really diverse, welcoming neighborhood. I think Morningside is probably one of the most diverse, oldest neighborhoods in the city, and I think that's really a great opportunity to keep Pittsfield growing, keep it really welcoming and for more people to move in here. So as counselor for Ward 2, I would picture really empowering people who live there now and want to live there to make their voices heard and to help them understand more how the city works, kind of be that go-between, I think a counselor should be a go-between of the people who live in this ward and the city, and help them understand their tools and how to make the city work better for them.
I said this to you when we were talking earlier, but you definitely come across to me as a very analytical, very that type of person. I like pies and graphs and charts. And what is it that you do for a trade in your personal life, or in your business life? I mean,
yeah. Well, I'm an engineer by trade and by education. I got my degree in civil engineering. From my college that I went to in Rochester, New York. So I've always just been okay with crunching numbers and drawing things out and and visualizing things. Like I really enjoy mapping. I really enjoy just kind of being on the ground and looking at how things work in the real world, which sometimes doesn't always happen with engineering. You're in your office, you're doing things on the computer. But yeah, I just really enjoy planning things out and making sure I got all my bases covered and all my options considered, before I before I run, walk before I run.
Now,
So
a lot of people have recently heard your name because of this. We talked about this a little bit, the bicycle project in Pittsfield.
mhm.
And is that something you wanna touch on at all, or
Mhm. Yeah, I'd be happy
to
to.
explain your involvement and where how you are involved in that project?
Yeah, I'd love to. Yeah, it feels like I wrote my name in the concrete, as there's not any concrete, but it feels like that sometimes, like it's on the road there permanently. But yeah, for background, I started as a engineering, consultant with a private engineering company called Alta. They're based in Troy, New York. So I was working there at the time this all started. And I was always in good communication with the city commissioner. We share a lot of the same views and interests in transportation and infrastructure. So he was telling me about how this new grant program came out from the state DOT. So I worked with my managers at Alta. We offered a proposal for the city to write the grant proposal for them. And I really used a lot of my personal experiences living in Pittsfield and riding my bike around Pittsfield all the time to inform where I would suggest these projects take place. So we sent them that application. And then this was just as COVID was starting. That's why they offered this grant. And then
Now, is that the shared streets and
shared
spaces?
streets and spaces.
Okay, so does this also incorporate like the parklets and those things too, or just okay?
Yep. Yeah, it's kind of a two-pronged thing. Like it's making it better for service-based businesses who had their capacities reduced, offer more of our public realm. Well, keeping it public space, but making it easier for like restaurants and service businesses to keep their capacity and keep the revenue streams coming, and make it safer for people to get to work or get to businesses, keeping social distance and all that kind of thing. So those are kind of the two prongs to it. And when we sent the application in, not soon after, the company kind of started to downsize a little bit. We lost some business because of COVID, like with budgets being reduced and stuff. So I was actually laid off in early summer, right before the grant money was approved. So to help keep the continuity of the project going, once the city got the funds for the grant, they offered for me to come in as an independent contractor, just to continue and implement the project fully. So I came back on to help order equipment and supplies and paint and work with like the line painters. So just kind of did that for I think 2 months, and that ended in late 2020. And so that's kind of the whole story.
All right.
But over that time, like
was that a volunteer position or was that a paid position?
It was paid hourly as an independent contractor.
Okay.
Yep. So it was my job for a couple months. And I worked under the Department of Public Services and Utilities. So they were very generous in kind of letting me make decisions about how to engage the public on this. So I decided kind of my own volition that I wanted to talk to people online and in person. So I was kind of the one whose face was out there, whose name was out there, talking about how these projects work, trying to answer questions as best I could. Yeah. And that was just my choice to sort of, put a face to how we sometimes see the city as like kind of just this wall, like this faceless kind of wall that I think a lot of people observe. You can't always put a face to the policy or to the department. So I kind of wanted to, step forward and do that just while I had the time, and I had this personal interest and, you know, the knowledge to back it up as well, since I was involved in the design process. So
Okay. And you know, I'm sure we'll go over your how people can contact you. Do do you have a problem with people or anybody who has, because I know a lot of people have questions on that. Are you open to people doing a question back and forth or messaging you, or, you know, with any questions or concerns they have on that, or should that be directed where, you know, because that is that side of it. And I, like, again, I don't want to dump that all on you. I get a ton of stuff with people asking, like, who do I yell at?
where do I direct my?
Yeah, and they're like, why? How do I get they don't know who to talk to. So
Sure.
Maybe you can just, I guess that's what I'm trying to ask you is, who would they talk to? Would it be you or?
Well, I'll say I'm not involved with the project anymore. I'm not on the payroll. I'm not in any position of like decision making with the city anymore.
Okay.
I would say if you're a Facebook friend of mine and you have a question, you can always shoot me a Facebook message. I can talk with you about it.
But I mean, the actual channels, then would that be through Ricardo Morales, or is there another channel for people to?
Yeah, I would say that if you want an official channel, the Department of Public Services and Utilities is the official city department who could answer any questions about it.
And that's who is that who actually oversees that project? Okay.
Correct. I'm not saying to pass the buck or anything. Like, I'm happy to talk to people on a personal basis about it. Like, just I'm not professionally involved at this point, so I couldn't.
Right, and I wanted to make that. I didn't want to open the door for people to, you know, bombard you with
Yeah, and as a possible future counselor, you know, that's something that's part of my job as well. Like, you can contact your ward counselor with questions about what's happening in the city. So that's perfectly within my wheelhouse. You know, I'd be happy to do that. You know, I
do think down the road, that's going to be a big one. A lot of people, like, a lot of questions that were submitted to me, but I want to, you know, this right now, like I said to you earlier, I want to give you the chance to introduce yourself. People get to know you. I know that what's happening with the Shared Streets project is just a tiny bit of your platform, and, you know, from us talking off the record. So, you know, I just wanted to make that clear and not put all of that on what you're about. But we can, and, you know, I'm going to let people continue to send me more questions, and we can talk about that in other forums later.
I mean, are there any that have been waiting or brewing that you wanted to ask me that you've seen in, like, consistently, or?
Not in a while. And I think I wanted to give a chance also for people to simmer down a little bit and take everything in. You know, sometimes the instant reaction on everything, even with myself. I mean, the first day I went up there and someone blew their horn at me, I was like, I hate this. You know, it was, the instant reaction was a little chaotic. So even for myself, I've tried to be objective about it and simmer down a little bit. But I do know that a lot of people I've spoken to do have questions, and we can get to that, I think, down the road.
Sure. Yeah.
But that being said, in closing, then, if you have anything that you would say or to the constituents, or why they should vote for you, and definitely make sure you put in your contact information too, and I'll put that up on the screen. But, you know, let people know how they can get in touch with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, basically, as for my full platform, I'm really focusing kind of on, you know, the triple line of sustainability from a social, economic, and environmental standpoint. So I want to kind of use my platform as a future city councilor, if that happens, to sort of do more community organizing and empowerment. Like, I would really want to, like, we kind of talked about this a little bit before too, like, offer a platform, you know, to better link the city and the residents, like, kind of break down that sort of opaqueness that can sometimes come over, city government. Obviously, a ward counselor is separate from the city government. That's how our branches of government work. You've got your legislatures and you've got your executives. So I would want to really just use my time and my, energy to get as many voices lifted up and heard as possible. I'd really be interested in, holding regular sessions. I could picture myself just kind of hanging out at the farmer's market, on Saturdays. Just folks want to come by and chat about something. I'd be there for, a few hours a week. I'd like to have, monthly meetings where I go to folks who, want to talk about an upcoming issue. Say there's, I don't know, to give a good, like, recent example, like trash policy reform. Like, I think it's a really great opportunity to use another channel besides, the city official PR and communications department to, provide the facts about what's being proposed, solicit feedback on the proposal, and then share that with city government. Because I think that's what a counselor should do, is send the voice of the ward to the city government. So, yeah, and that's not to say I don't have my own ideas as well, but I know this isn't this is the Nick Russo ward. Like, I'm not just gonna unilaterally propose something or implement something without feedback. But I think I would definitely get feedback on things I'm interested in, like different transportation, like bicycles, mass transit. I'm really excited that the rail trail is being extended into Pittsfield from Lanesboro. So that's coming down to Crane Ave this next spring. And then they want to keep going down to Merrill Road. So that's all on board too. And I'd love to keep people updated on that and amplify it and spread the word as much as I can. And, talk about how to keep some of our oldest neighborhoods affordable and keep them growing, and tackle any kind of blight or, detraction that can make it less inviting or, lower any kind of quality of life.
Do you think, do you find yourself in your personal life being able to be very accessible to the constituents if elected?
Absolutely. I haven't fully formulated my entire communication strategy yet. I can tell you now, please email me, nrusso93@gmail.com. That's just my personal email right now. I think once you become a counselor, you'd have, your cityofpittsfield.org email address. So that would be shared once that happens, if it happens.
and do you have a campaign Facebook page or that they can reach you at, or Facebook page?
Not yet, just my personal Facebook page. But I will be setting that up within the next month. I still have to get all my signatures for the petition. So I don't want to jump the gun too much, but keep an eye on that within the next month. Okay. By June, I would say.
All right. Well, yep. Nick, hey, I definitely appreciate you taking the time to do this today. And one last thing, I plan on, and I've been asking everybody this so far. Nobody said no, but I plan on doing some like Zoom forum debates. Is that something you'd be willing to participate in?
Oh yeah. Right now I know my ward is unopposed. Would it be with other wards?
Yeah, I'm gonna do some creative stuff that is also not just on big issues, that there'll be a lot of that, but some of it just so people can really get to know everybody. So I'm going to lump everybody together in some stuff. But
yeah, awesome. Count me in.
Awesome. I really appreciate that. So I'll put your email up so people can contact you, and let me know when you get the Facebook page up, and I have no problem listing that on my website and everything, so people can find you that way too.
Yeah, and I really appreciate your invitation to this forum. I think it's a really great opportunity, to offer, everyone on the whole spectrum a chance for, equal footing and equal representation. So I'm all for it.
All right, Nick. Well, I look forward to doing more with you. So keep me updated on where you're at, and we'll definitely be talking soon.
I will, Mike. Yeah. Thank you so much.
All right. Have a good one.
You too now.
Bye-bye.
Bye.